ladies and gentlemen, and I'd like to call the Thursday, February the 21st, 2019 regular monthly meeting to order. And I want to thank all of you for coming out this evening at Simonsdale. You know, each year we try to have school board meetings out in the community because we want to be able to bring the message and hear from the community and make it a lot easier for you rather than to come to the sixth floor. Sometimes that can be very intimidating. So I thank you very much for coming out tonight. Hopefully next year we're going to be able to be looking at going at some rec centers and other places besides schools, because we want to attract as many citizens of Portsmouth so that they understand what is really going on with the school system and feel free and not intimidated to come to school board meetings. So it's our way of gathering information. So I am very thankful that you are here this evening, and we will now continue with our business. I'd like for you to please stand for a moment of silence. Amen. You may be seated. At this time, I'm going to ask Dr. Bracey to introduce the students.
Good evening to everyone.
Good evening. Good evening.
Now, I heard one person that was loud. Now, I know we have more people in here than that. Let's try that again. Good evening.
Good evening.
That's much better. I know it's been a long day, so just bear with us for a little while and we'll be out of here. But this is a good part of the board meeting here, when we get a chance to recognize and hear from our students. So the students, of course, we're at Simonsdale, so Simonsdale students will be representing their schools during the statement as well as the Pledge of Allegiance. So the students that I will call at this time, as I call your name, please come forward. And the first is Joshua Anthony Hines, and he will be reciting the pledge. And as he comes, I would like to read a little bit of his bio. Joshua, as I mentioned, is a second grader. His special achievements, he's been Student of the Month for February in 2018 and also February of 2019. So, Joshua, I would say February is your month. He's achieved honor roll on every report card since kindergarten. He plays baseball with the Olive Branch Little League. He won the golf tournament for his age for the past 2 years at Portsmouth City Park. He volunteers with Portsmouth Master Gardeners with his grandmother. He also aspires to be a professional baseball player, and he wants to play second base just like Jackie Robinson.
All right.
Well, he was one of the greatest at second base. His parents are also here this evening, and that is Mr. and Mrs. Anthony Hines, and Miss Sarah Duncan Hines, of course, is a board member. So I would ask them to stand, and I know grandmother is here. There she is, front and center with the camera going. So grandmother, would you all stand to be recognized? All right, our next student will be providing the statement for us. And the student is Yome Kakili Ayem. They're sixth grader. So Yome, how did I do? Did I? Okay, good. So all I want is thumbs up. Great. Okay. All right. Her special achievement, she's achieved the honor roll in every report card since kindergarten, had perfect attendance since kindergarten, passed all SOL assessments. All grade 4 and 5 SOLs were passed advance. Congratulations. She participates in gymnastics at World Class Gymnastics in Suffolk. She's a member of the Point Harbor Community Church, where she works with the youth group and music ministry. She plans to attend Virginia Tech or Johnson & Wales to study culinary arts.
Wow.
Her goal is to own her own restaurant. Now, her parents are also here this evening, and that's Mr. Kwazi I.M. and Mrs. Essie I.M. Diaba. Yeah. All right. So at this time, Joshua, we'll turn it over to you for the pledge.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Please be seated.
Chairman Parent and members of the Portsmouth School Board, Superintendent Dr. Bracey and members of the senior staff. Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Yomei Ayim. I am proud to be a 6th grade student at Simonsdale Elementary School. Good evening. My name is Yomei Ayim. I am proud to be a 6th grade student at Simonsdale Elementary School. Our school motto is Soaring High with Eagle Pride. I would like to tell you how we continue to soar high each and every day. First, I want to let you know how we keep such a positive school environment. Not only do we have a beautiful school, but it is also clean and well maintained. Mr. Holden and our custodial staff were awarded the Custodial Cleaning Gold Standard Award for the first quarter. We also have a safe and caring school. Thanks to our security officer, Mr. Craig, and our preparation through our school drills, our students are ready to conduct themselves safely each and every day. Our students also have the support of an amazing school counselor, Mrs. Parker, and when needed, a great team of Envision counselors. As part of our PBIS program, we have an Eagle Buck store, which encourages students to earn Eagle Bucks by showing positive, respectful behavior. Each 9 weeks, students achieving their goals for attendance, honor roll, and good citizenship are recognized and provided an opportunity to participate in a fun and exciting assembly. Students who show behavioral and academic growth are also honored each month in our Student of the Month ceremony. Our school is so fortunate to have such dedicated and caring teachers. They help students stay motivated by using project-based learning, small group activities, and stations, and by incorporating technology in our lessons. In reading class, we have engaging class libraries with books such as Wonder by R.J. Palacio. These books help broaden our thinking and foster our compassion and understanding of diversity. Our students are also learning more about being great writers by participating in the writing process and a variety of writing topics. Our Encore team goes the extra distance to provide activities that broaden our knowledge of the arts and strengthen our bodies. We have wonderful parents who volunteer each week to help our teachers with our Eagle folders, which is our weekly parent communication system. Additionally, we just started 2 new school programs to increase our parent involvement. Under the direction of Mrs. Mitchell, our Title I parent liaison, we have a group of dads, brothers, uncles, grandfathers, and other male role models called Watchdogs. The dog in Watchdog stands for Dads of Great Students. The watchdogs volunteer each day throughout our school. You can find them in our cafeteria, at our entrances, helping in our hallways, and supporting learning in our classrooms. The other group is Mothers Make Reading Magic. These moms, aunts, grandmothers, and other female role models will be reading to our classrooms on Read Across America Day. They will continue to read with our individual students and groups throughout the rest of the year. Our students are so proud of Simonsdale that each time we return to the building from a field trip, we say, "We are back in the Eagle's Nest," where we always demonstrate the qualities from our school pledge. At Simonsdale, I will be positive, respectful, in control, dependable, and show excellence. At Simonsdale, we are always soaring high with Eagle pride.
Yome, okay. I'm sorry. Thank you for doing our attendance tonight, sir. I'll hug you in a minute. Ma'am, thank you so much. It was a pleasure to hear your excitement and your poise and just your presence at that podium. It was wonderful to see and it was wonderful to feel. So I want to say thank you on behalf of Portsmouth Public Schools, but also on behalf of Simonsdale. And just so you know, I went to Simonsdale, and my dad went to Simonsdale, and now my son's at Simonsdale. So for me to see what good students we put out, it is a pleasure to see. So on behalf of Portsmouth Public School Board and on behalf of everybody in this attendance tonight, I want to say thank you. Keep growing, keep shining, and just keep being you, girl. Okay? Thank you. You're welcome. All right. And Joshua. Mr. Young Man, Mr. has control of the microphone. Thank you for being you. Thank you for wanting to raise the bar and keeping these teachers and the staff on their toes, because I'm sure you do, okay? Here you go, sweetheart. I love you. Mwah.
And at this time, I would like to recognize the principal, Ms. Tammy King, and assistant principal, Ms. Carla Jakubowski.
I wanted to thank Mrs. King and your staff, because it's not always easy when the school board comes to a school. There's a lot of preparation that must be done prior to us coming this evening. And I want to thank you and your staff. Now, do you have teachers and staff here this evening that we'd like to recognize? Thank you very much. And I can't forget, it takes a lot to get all of this set up. And the IT department, I have to give kudos to them for taking care of all of the mics and all of the things that must be done. So if your staff's here, let's wave. Thank you very much. We appreciate it very much. Good job. All right. Now, Mrs. Hines, you ready for the mission statement?
Oh, the mission statement of
Yes.
Portsmouth Public School Division is to engage all students in learning that will foster academic excellence and responsible citizenship.
Thank you very much. At this time, we will have roll call vote of attendance. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Miss Allen,
Present.
Mr. Atkinson,
Here.
Mr. Barnes,
Here.
Mrs. Hines,
Present.
Mr. Lamb,
Here.
Reverend Patillo,
Present.
Mrs. Shoemake,
Present.
Mrs. Williams,
Here.
Mr. Parent.
Here.
All members are present.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the consideration of the agenda February the 21st, 19. If you notice that we earlier we discussed 4.1, which is the proposed 2019-20 operating budget, so that it has been amended. So when you vote, you're voting on that amendment. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion been made and second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call vote.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Reverend Patillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemake?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Oh, I got a
Yes.
different agenda.
Mr. Parent?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Yes.
We have no service on our devices. Is there, can we have a moment to get some service, please? Just so we're using the correct documents. Thank you.
Okay.
I turned it on and then turned it off and then turned it on again. Thank you.
It's always technology.
It is.
All right, at this time, we're going to have to me, it's one of the best part of it is Tanaya Bellamy is going to give the student representative report. And I guess I better give you the mic. I'll give you my mic. I don't think that was good.
Thank you. Good evening, Chairman Parent, Vice Chair Patillo, Dr. Bracy, members of the school board. For those that don't know, I am Tanaya Bellamy, the school board student representative for the 2018-2019 school year. So since we've last met, I've been really busy. I attended Dr. Bracy's Superintendent Advisory Committee, where he has students from the different high schools and one of the middle schools come together and discuss some of the concerns and their suggestions for the school system. I also had the chance to record with Mrs. Shoemake and Mr. Barnes on my show, Portsmouth Finest, so that should be available soon. There's a lot of good things happening in the division. At the high school, we had the tobacco-free campaigns like a week or so ago where the high school students pledged to stay tobacco-free and they received some information about saying no to tobacco. Well, it is Black History Month and a lot of different teachers have been decorating their doors with different African-American themes and hairstyles and different African-American leaders. 3 of our students participated in a spelling bee that was on TV. They made it all the way to the 4th round. You had students from Victory, Craddock, and Churchland Middle School, so that was really exciting. Next year, I hope to see our students go and take the cake. Some of the suggestions that I have for our division, I know that on March 15th, we have a CTE and college fair, and I know that last year we had one. Well, the year prior, 2017, and the years before that, they were in November. So I was hoping that we could look into doing more of those, even if they're not as large scale, just something in the schools, because a lot of times March is a little late to be trying to like fill out applications for school. I know in November you're a little better off because a lot of deadlines don't start approaching until like January and February. So trying to fill out and go to the different college tables in March, you're a little late to the game, so you might not be as better off as you would had it been in November or had there been ones prior. During the summer, a lot of our students are awarded or are given the opportunity to attend summer programs that will enrich their experience in school. I know, for example, we have the governor schools, and a lot of times they have summer programs, but they can be a little pricey, and I don't want price to prohibit a student from going and getting that learning experience or having that opportunity. So I was wondering if the board could look into sponsoring students for these different programs so they can go get the experience and then come back and make our schools and our communities better with the information that they learned over their summer. And as always, students can continue to email me questions and concerns at student.rep@portsk12.com. So for the upcoming month, I'm going to be a little busy. On March 12th, I've been invited to be a guest reader for the BOSS program at Brighton Elementary. The BOSS program is Breaking Obstacles to Seek Success Authors and Book Club, which enables students with incarcerated parents to improve reading comprehension and oral language skills. They meet twice a week at Brighton Elementary, and I will be a guest speaker there on March 12th. If anybody would like to tag along with me, you're welcome to. My next Portsmouth Finest recording, I would like to have the superintendent and a couple of school board members. So if anybody is interested, please let me know. And lastly, the Portsmouth School Foundation scholarships dropped a week and a half ago. They're for high school seniors in our schools. They range from about $500 to $3,500. So please promote that. Tell the seniors to get on them. I think the first one is due March 1st, and the latest to turn one in is April 10th. So we should definitely be promoting that. And then lastly, for students already invited, the last Superintendent Advisory Council meeting will be April 10th. And that is all.
Ms. Atkinson?
Thank you, Tanaya. I was trying. Oh, I'm glad you got a case. I was trying to understand the structure of orientation. So, for new school or new student orientation, is there not like college vendors, apprenticeship schools at the orientation when you guys first began?
From my orientation, it's just like school activities, and we do like school events, like we meet the counselors, we learn about the different clubs and stuff in school, but there's never been like vendors that come and talk or anything like that. And then the orientations are usually for ninth graders and like new students, not really senior or junior oriented.
So nothing involving like what CTE courses are offered or anything like that?
Not that I am aware of.
Okay. We can get that because it will probably provide a better experience if you said have access to that early, like what colleges in the area, invite some colleges there, apprentice schools, and a lot of other mentorship programs and things like that that y'all can participate in. So thanks for that.
You're welcome.
Any other comments?
Thank you. To clarify for Ms. Atkinson, and we'll need to get some more information from Craig Hill, who was in charge of our CTE. I do know that last year our CTE program, along with LEFCO and Opportunity Inc., did do a night of apprentice schools, and it was over at TCC. It was about this time last year, so if they're doing it again, I'm sure it would be soon. We've also talked with Mr. Hill about bringing it to the schools so it wasn't an extra outing for families at 6:30 and 7 o'clock in the evening. And I also know that in middle school, they have a career day at TCC as well, where they can go through and see some of the colleges, but we can get clarity with Mr. Hill. But for CTE, people that are interested, we also have a signing day this year, where our students who are going into apprentice programs or who have their certifications and are signing on to jobs, the same way that we have a signing day for students that are going to college, we're having a signing day for CTE as well to support and to celebrate their achievements just as well. So I just wanted to add that out there.
So when you guys do look into having more CTE and college fairs, could you please try to do them during the school day? Because it's a lot easier to do it during the school day. Okay.
Yes, because we understand that there's a complication there for a lot.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is the public hearing on the proposed amended 2019-20 operating budget. Not amended, I'm sorry. The operating budget. Dr. Bracy?
At this time, if there's anyone that would like to share any information regarding the proposed operating budget, can come forward at this time. You have the.
Ms. Donna Sy.
name is Donna Sy, and I live in the Woodbine Farms neighborhood. I'm very concerned about the communication in this school board. When I wrote to all those who are elected by us to not have one person respond to my email, when I asked about delaying this public hearing because I didn't get the information I needed to make a comment. And now already I've seen you make an amendment to it, and we're here, and we could have a screen that explained to us all that the budget is about. So I'm really concerned about the communication on this school board.
Ms. Sy? Mrs. Sy? I just want to clarify for the public her comments. This is a public hearing for us to receive information from the public so that when we do put the budget together and it's presented, then we are getting input from the public. So the information, I know it says public, it is a public hearing. That's why we're here tonight, to receive information from the public regarding this budget, okay? And I want to clarify a mistake that I made. This is not amended. The amendment was item 5.2, which is consideration to adopt the instructional calendar. We amended that, so that was my mistake. But we're not amending the operating budget because we haven't really gotten the final funding from the state, the final, actually what we're going to be receiving. We just want to hear from the public, getting comments from you as to what should be in our budget. So just to clarify that. All right, the next item on the agenda is 5.1, which is the monthly report of the curriculum and instruction. Dr. Nguyen.
Good evening, Chairman Parent, Vice Chairman Patillo, and members of the board, Dr. Bracy. I will call your attention, as always, to the monthly report that is in board docs. But tonight, once again, we have a wonderful treat for you, because tonight we're going to be hearing from Victory Elementary School. And before we begin, I want to recognize Dr. Williams and Dr. Wilson and members of the Victory staff who are here. Please stand. Thank you. So as you can see, there's a lot of enthusiasm here tonight. We also have our students being represented tonight by their teachers, Ms. Karen Webb and Mr. Eric Estrada. So what is all the hype about Victory? Well, this year, Dr. Williams and his staff, along with Ms. Laura Nelson, took on a special challenge. I asked them to come up with an idea to increase rigor and to increase critical thinking and higher order strategies for students. They embraced what they call C-STEM, and that is the combination of communication and STEM. All of the teachers there have been trained for instructional strategies that can be used to help students learn communication while doing hands-on STEM projects. And so tonight, you're going to have an opportunity not only to hear from two students, but to engage in such an activity. We have with us Brielle Shanora Strother. She's a second grade student at Victory Elementary in Mr. Estrada's class. She is the daughter of Derek and Latoya Whitaker, and she has a sister, Skylar. Mr. and Ms. Whitaker and Skylar. And by the way, she's also here with Grandma, Ms. Banks. And Brielle says that math is her favorite subject because it has number sentences and adding and subtracting. She is a member of the Mount Church, and she's a proud member of the Mount's basketball team. She shares, when you do worksheets, you only get to do one boring thing. When we do STEM activities, we have fun when we learn. One day we raced magnets in a friendly competition, and I learned about attracting and repelling forces. Brielle loves to cook, ride her bike, swim, and go on trips with her family. Her goal is to become a pediatrician before becoming the President of the United States. And she says, things I'm learning will help me with my future. Next, we have Envy Marissa Davis, a fifth grader who is the oldest of 5 children, and she is here with her grandmother, Miss Rochelle Desaw. Ms. Desaw, please stand. She's on the principal star list at Victory Elementary, and she says, "This is my first year at Victory. I get to be in different activities in each of my classes. We didn't have STEM at my other school. STEM activities help us build our stamina and learn the subject matter for our SOLs and benchmarks. The hands-on activities help us because you can feel, experience, and adjust your learning." She's the daughter of Marcus and Makita Davis, and with her today, I've already told you, is a grandmother. Her favorite subject is math, and she says, "I can do multiplication in my head really fast." In her spare time, she enjoys playing basketball. She aspires to attend culinary school and become a pastry chef, and one day she will own her own bakery. Cooking, she says, is a science, and it requires math and reading, so STEM is going to help me reach my goals. Girls, would you come up?
Good evening, Dr. Bracy, Chairman Parent, Vice Chair, board members, and all assembled. My name is Dr. Cheryl Wilson, and I'm the Assistant Principal at Victory Elementary School. Tonight, we are excited to introduce to you some of the wonderful learning taking place at our STEM school.
My name is Brielle. I am proud to be a Falcon. Our teachers are working to build a STEM model school for Portsmouth Public Schools.
I'm Envy. Victory has taught me that STEM includes all the subjects through science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. At Victory, we connect all 4 through reading, because reading is the foundation of everything.
Please enjoy this short presentation of the engaging learning that is taking place at Victory Elementary. We will...
Please direct your attention to the screen to your right.
That's technology for you. I think the last time I was out there, y'all were building drones, and I thought tonight y'all were going to have these drones all going all over.
I'm going to go ahead and hopefully this technology. Sure, barely. And Envy, go ahead and tell
Each of you have a bag containing several items. Please use these items to make a catapult. You only have 2 minutes. You may begin now.
A catapult? Okay.
You know what? I'm going to make a stick man.
Yeah, that's what I'm making.
Do we have to use everything that's in the bag?
I'm a history teacher.
We have to use everything that have to in the bag?
We have to use everything?
Yeah, do we have to use everything? You do?
Oh, man.
I have no idea. I'm social studies.
I've got it. Where's the
Yeah, I've got to be able to.
It's where you go. Some kind of place. You go.
This is supposed to be my ball. I'm supposed to shoot this. I know that.
All right, here we go.
So I can't just get that? Yeah, that's all. I got it. So.
Woo! My flu!
I'm not completely sure that I'm doing it right. And it's supposed to fly. I'm not giving up. Yeah, I'm not doing it.
There you go.
I made cheating. I think I'm cheating.
I think I got it.
I do have a
I put it right back in the
No, it's got a lever. Whatever reaction is, the Carol and I were the reaction. You gotta pull it back. Pull it back and play forward. These are not supposed to be weapons. We do have a weapons policy.
We're going to give you.
Let's go, Jim. Let's count down.
You discovered that the board members
Oh,
are.
I did it.
We're going to give you 10 more seconds, everyone. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. I know.
This is your remedial plan.
And now we're going to show you our quick video. Before we do that, we're going to pass out to you an informational text that the students would have received after they experimented trying to make the catapult that gives the instructions for them to do so. So here's the video that the students have helped prepare.
Well, I didn't make mine like that.
Well, I got close. They were.
We hope. It will not be.
Someone got another one to show you too.
Oh, another one.
Give me a minute, I'll find it. Because it's a paper plate straws and a marble.
I promised you our presentation was beautiful. We're having still technology issues, but we're going to move on from there. And Doc.
All right, well, again, we tried to show you all of the things that we're trying to build, this foundation for us to grow, not only at Victory Elementary School, but we're looking at building this STEM program that is comprehensive. Of course, it's going to target deficiency, and it's going to be a model for our other Portsmouth schools. So we're working with teachers and other educational leaders to help build this foundation. We want to create this K through 6 cross-curricular thematic units where we make relevant learning for all of our learners in Portsmouth Public Schools. So it's our mission and the mission of all of the faculty and staff, and we just have a few of us here tonight, to make us the first national Blue Ribbon School in Portsmouth. So with support of the board and the guidance of division leadership, we will make this a reality. Thank you.
Thank you, Brielle and Envy and the Victory Elementary School, and for all the wonderful things and the authentic learning experiences that our students are having, and we know that we're moving on to great things. Thank you.
Mr. Lamb, hold up just a minute. We have a question from a board member. Hold up. Mr. Lamb?
Oh, it's not a question, that's for sure. This little exercise, some of you were laughing at me and so forth. My excuse is, I don't have an excuse, but my excuse is, I'm a history teacher, so if he'd asked me to summarize what a catapult does, I could have done it. Asked me to build this, it's not happening. And part of that too is, that's why I enjoy so much the summer camps that goes on with the STEM program and so forth. And I'm glad we are going in the direction of the thematic unit, because to me that's more authentic learning than, unfortunately, what we have going on today. When you take subjects and you divide them into like science, English, and math, as opposed to combining and blending as how the mind actually operates. So I'm excited to see this. I've always said that I would put our STEM program against anyone in the Commonwealth, and even nationally. So thank you, and congratulations, and great job.
Would you recognize the teachers that you said that were here? Your other staff members, are they?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
yes,
we
sir.
need to.
Would you all, teachers, would you stand up again, please? I'm sorry.
Yes, thank you very much. Thank you. One thing that, oh, I'm sorry. Who's got their? Ms. Ackerson.
Thank you, Chairman.
And then Mr. Barnes.
Oh, okay. I just want to just commend Victory on being just that awesome STEM school. I think every child in Portsmouth wants to come to Victory because of the STEM program. And hopefully I'm going to keep pushing that we get STEM, STEAM in all schools, that we're able to get that funding so all of our students can have that opportunity. I also want to give Victory a kudos. Many of you may not know, but they are the pilot school for the bathroom art program, in which Stephanie Campbell, she's the PTA president, and a couple of other volunteers painted the bathrooms with positive affirmations on their bathroom walls. As you all know, that's the first place that when students are down, depressed, thinking of suicide, the first place they go is in the bathroom. So when they see these positive affirmations, or even when they're having a bad day, that uplifts them. So shout out to Victory for that as well.
Very good. Mr. Barnes?
I actually had the opportunity to visit Victory today. They're really doing some good things at Victory Elementary School. And also I wanted to let people know that Dr. Williams was also my 5th grade teacher. And I told him he was one of the coolest teachers I had.
Wow. Very good. Ms. Hines?
Dr. Williams, we go way back too, but we don't look a day over 29, so we're just going to leave it there. We're young for our age. I I just want to say thank you, because this just brings to light everything that can come into one project. Because as Mr. Lamb said, I can see a history project here. I can see writing, and writing is one of those areas that we struggle with. And so whether it's writing directions about how to do this or correcting wrong instructions when you give them, because I know I'm awful at reading instructions. Give me a picture and I can figure it out. And so the technical writing, the creative writing, the editing process to make it more, there's just so much that can go into these lessons, and I want to thank you guys for harnessing it and giving it to our kids with such positive and such energy. I appreciate it, and I love what you're doing, and I made your catapult the way that you did it, so it's not that hard, but I think mine went better, so I think I'll rewrite them for you as a part of the revision standards.
There you
Okay, but thank you guys, I appreciate it.
Good. You know, one of the workforce goals that we're trying to teach our children is collaboration. And I think if Mr. Lamb, Dr. Bracy, and myself, and Reverend Patillo, if we could collaborate, and we might have figured it out, and we could have probably finished the project, but since we were doing it by ourselves. But I think I commend you that, you know, team building and working as a team. I mean, we've got all this technology, but technology can only do so much. If we put all our heads together, we can figure out a lot of things together. So I commend you and keep up the good work. I still want to see the finished product of the drone. So I want, the next time I want just drones just flying all over the room. We can do that? I know you will. All right, thank you.
And we'll send you this video too. Sorry for the malfunctions.
Oh, no. Thank you very
Dr.
much.
Wynn.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the roll call vote, consideration to adopt the 2019-20 instructional calendar as amended.
Move for approval.
Motion's been made. And
Second.
Second. Roll call vote, Madam Clerk.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Reverend Patillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemake?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Parent?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
And at this time, I'd like Dr. Cromartie, if you would come, please, and indicate to the public the change that was made, that we amended.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, Mr. Vice Chair, Dr. Bracy. The amendments to the 2019-2020 instructional calendar. The original proposed draft version indicated that November had 17 instructional days. Upon a recount, it was determined that it actually had 18 instructional days. It was a good error to make because it allows us now to take November the 5th, which is a statewide election day, and make that a teacher work day for the first marking period for teachers and a student holiday, as our buildings are polling places.
Okay. All right.
Any
We have it.
questions?
Any board members, do you have any questions? We've approved the calendar, so we're going to move forward.
Yep.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
All right, the next item on the agenda is the presentation, and it's recognition of the Virginia School Board Association School Board Appreciation Month, February 2019. Oh, I thought we voted on that. Oh, I'm sorry, my bad. I thought we did roll call vote for the calendar. All right, Madam Clerk, roll call vote to approve the calendar. We did. I thought we did it. We've already did it. We
What
did
did I vote
it.
yes for then?
Something's wrong down here in this end of the table. All right, we approved the calendar. I thought we did. Okay, all right. Next item on the agenda is the VSBA School Board Appreciation Month, February 2019. Dr. Bracy, please. You want to use that one?
Thank you, Chairman Parent. And at this time, I would like to share the certificates that each board member will receive from the Virginia School Board Association. And it reads, and they're all the same, Virginia School Boards Association Certificate of Recognition to board members, and the first one will be Ms. Angela Allen, in appreciation of your dedication and service to excellence in education on behalf of the students of the Commonwealth of Virginia. School Board Appreciation Month, February 2019. Signed by President Foster and Jim Patterson, Executive Director.
Right.
They're all in order. Congratulations, board members.
Thank you. Oh, you're not going to present ours individually?
Thank you.
Thank you. All right. We have, excuse me, we have three resolutions. Consideration of a resolution recognizing Youth Art Month. We have a resolution recognizing Music in Our Schools Month, and a resolution recognizing Employee Appreciation Month. I'm going to have these resolutions read. This will be a consent vote, so we're going to, when you vote, we're going to be voting on 7.1, 2, and 3, okay? Dr. Camargo.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If we have anyone from our division's art department with us, if they could please stand forward. Okay.
The art. Look at Ms. Davenport's here.
Hey, Ms. Davenport. Our first resolution is for the recognition of March as Youth Art Month. Whereas Youth Art Month is observed annually during the month of March as a means of emphasizing the roles of the arts in public education, and whereas this yearly celebration helps students develop a lifelong appreciation for critical thinking and creativity, and whereas the arts significantly enhance the morale and quality of school environments, and whereas the Council for Art Education Incorporated and the Art and Creative Materials Incorporated have designated March as Youth Art Month, selecting Your Art, Your Story as the theme. Now therefore be it resolved that the Portsmouth City School Board recognizes March as Youth Art Month, leading our community in supporting arts education, and further resolved that this document be made a part of the school board's permanent records and a framed copy be presented to an art educator at the school board's February 21st, 2019 meeting. Thank you. Okay. Yes. And Mrs. Davenport asked me to ask you all to be sure to check out the art show in the hallways at the end of the meeting.
And
Thank
Ms.
you.
Davenport, for our dinner tonight, we were enclosed in an area that had all the artwork, and we were commenting how beautiful the artwork. Thank you very much.
Our next resolution for consideration is recognizing Music in Our School Month. And if Ms. Sandy Davis is here, we'll have her come forth. Whereas music develops students' listening and reading skills, collaboration, and creativity, and whereas music education includes a broad range of genres and active experiences, and whereas music, along with the visual arts, significantly enhances the morale and quality of our learning environments, and whereas Portsmouth Public Schools have a primary responsibility of preparing and encouraging young people to assume a productive role in society, and whereas the National Association for Music Educators has designated March as Music in Our School Month and has selected All Music, All People as this year's theme, now therefore be it resolved that the Portsmouth City School Board recognizes the observance of Music in Our Schools Month as an opportunity to support music education, and that our entire community is encouraged to join us in special recognition, and be it further resolved that this document be made part of the school board's permanent records, and that a framed copy be formally presented to a music educator at the school board's regular monthly meeting scheduled for Thursday, February 21st, 2019.
Thank you.
And our final resolution is for consideration, recognizing Employee Appreciation Month. whereas a free and equitable education is an essential aspect of our America's strength, and whereas the Portsmouth Public Schools are vital to the success of our communities, and whereas our schools share the responsibility for academic excellence in Portsmouth to engage all students in learning that will foster academic excellence, responsible citizenship, and whereas the exceptional personnel of this school division dutifully guard the academic and social well-being of our students, now therefore be it resolved that the Portsmouth City School Board designate March 2019 as Employee Appreciation Month, and be it further resolved that the board extend its sincere appreciation to our dedicated professional and support personnel who provide high-quality educational programs and services for our youth, and be it finally resolved that this resolution be made part of the school board's official minutes and that copies be forwarded to all schools and administrative offices.
Board members, do I have a motion to approve 7.1, 7.2, and 7.3?
Move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Reverend Patillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemate?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Parent?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you.
Thank
The
you.
next item on, thank you, Dr. Cremoni. The next item is the approval of the minutes for January the 10th, 2019, January the 24th, 2019. What is the board's pleasure?
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and second that we approve the minutes. Do I have any discussion? Hear no discussion. Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Reverend Patillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemate?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Parent?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. The next item is public comment discussion. 9.1 is public comment, non-agenda items. Madam Clerk, do we have any speakers?
Yes. Ms. Crystal Harrison?
Hello, board. How are you doing?
Thank you.
My name is Crystal Harrison.
Wait a minute. Let me give you a mic.
Yes, you need it.
Well,
Is that working now? Is that good?
Hertz work?
That's good right there.
Oh, okay.
All right. I thought I had a big enough. I want to thank you guys for allowing me the opportunity to speak up here. My name is Crystal Harrison. I'm here on behalf of Virginia Organizing concerning suspensions and school climate. A few years ago, my son was suspended. Some of you school board members know me from that. And since then, I've been a really big advocate for school to prison pipeline, along with Virginia Organizing. My son was suspended, sent over to an alternative school. At that point, he did lose all his honors classes that he had to take that year, as well as several scholarships that he lost as well. But he did return back to the schools. Thanks to Kamani, but he did return back to the schools and was able to take other classes. What I'm trying to get to at this point, he went back to the school where there was absolutely no change in school climate. There is a shortage of teachers at the alternative schools who wasn't able to give him the proper classes that he was originally taken over at the high school, as well as a lot of the teachers here now. I don't know where I'm getting with that. Okay, well, anyways, there's a shortage of teachers, and we're wondering what you guys can do to bring back more teachers, get more teachers in the school classrooms to help with these kids, especially over in the alternative school where they do not have enough teachers to teach anywhere from kindergarten to 12th grade. I do understand that PBIS has been in progress now for almost 3 years. I believe it may work in some modified behavior, but as far as the high schools, what I've been approached with and what I've known, it's not working in the high schools. And I am asking you guys, what are you going to do to implement it more in the high schools since it's already been established for almost 3 years? Virginia Organizing now, we've decided to move forward back into the school board, and we want to look into school climate. We want to know what you guys are willing to do to change that, as well as well-trained teachers in certain classrooms, more into the alternative, as well as the PBIS, and as parents being engaged in this? Are they knowing? Are you contacting them? Are they even part of it? And what special needs programs and trauma-informed care that you are going to implement within this year and next year? And I also want to thank the school board for this opportunity to talk, and also the ones who have helped me through all these years. On my own personal behalf, I do want to announce that my son has actually finished school in January and graduates in June. He is going off into the Navy, so he wasn't part of the school to prison pipeline. But thank you very much. And I don't want to see any other kid either. So that's why we're bringing this back to you, because it's been brought to us a lot. Thank you.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
Yes, Mr. Mark Godowski.
Good evening, Mr. Chair, honorable school board members, and fellow interested parties.
Good evening.
I stand before you tonight to encourage you to have a very productive interchange of ideas with your counterparts on the City Council this coming Saturday. I will be there, sitting behind you as a physical reminder that you have friends in the room, or at least one friend in the room.
Thank you.
And I'm happy with the thought that this will be a facilitated conversation. That's something that I haven't seen before between the two bodies. And I think it may help get past some of the obstacles that have hindered a free flow, but a respectful, and at the same time a respectful flow of ideas between the two governing bodies. It's in the best interests of our city for the elected officials who have the greatest influence on the lives of everyday people, including young people, to be able to have a discourse that is meaningful, not accusatory, not vengeful, but constructive. And so I'm not asking you to be non-critical, but I'm asking you to be constructively engaged. And also asking you to press them for what it is the schools need. In my view, what is lacking principally in terms of funding the schools is a defined level of contribution from local government. It's something we had a number of years ago, but it has fallen away. And the future prospect of your having your own taxing authority, as is the case in school systems elsewhere in this country. Because there will always be this tendency of the City Council to put its priorities ahead of those of the schools. It's just the nature of the system we have. And that does not work to the benefit of either the students or the city as a whole. So persist. I encourage you to relentlessly apply gentle pressure. And as I said, I'll be there rooting for you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we have any other speakers?
No more speakers.
No more speakers. All right. Do we have any speakers regarding public comment board agenda items? We've already had one earlier. So we have no others. Okay.
No.
The next item on the agenda is Human Resources, and it's the monthly report.
Mr. Chair.
Mr. Ziegler? Yes, I'm sorry, I didn't see you.
Open the floor to anybody who didn't get a chance to register.
I'll ask the clerk to, are there any others speakers that would like to come forth to, that, I mean, all the speakers have registered to speak.
Don't we usually open the floor to anybody who didn't get a chance to register to come speak
All
at this
right.
time?
We can do that.
If there are any additional speakers, you may request permission to speak from the board at this time.
I know.
Good evening. My name is Sergio O'Neill, Portsmouth resident. Been before you all before several times. Again, I would like to thank you all for this opportunity to speak. I think there was some confusion with my email, so I'm going to make sure it did send, or I'm going to call Google, and we're going to have an issue. Anyway, the reason why I am before you all tonight, for the simple fact, is that we have two different community groups here that have been pressing, standing with the school system, making sure that the voices of the community are heard. One being Virginia Organizing, and then two, a new community group that has come together, which is Portsmouth, the Portsmouth Campaign to Combat Childhood Adversity. A lot of times, a lot of people have come to present information on trauma-informed care. If you look at the city of Portsmouth and the dynamic of what's going on with our youth, you will fully understand that trauma-informed care is needed now more than ever. If the research shows that on average, at least childhood, on the childhood ACEs score, people score like an average of 4. So that pretty much means that if you get a 10-question survey of different issues, you've experienced at least 4 in your childhood. Can you imagine how many issues of trauma that the kids are facing now? We just had a 5-year-old child shot less than a week ago. Before that, it was a 14-year-old child, 12-year-old child shot. Can you imagine the friends of those kids and the trauma that they experience, in our neighborhoods? So, when they come to school, if our staff members, can have the training and the knowledge to address those different traumas that our children are facing, it prepares for a better school climate, like was mentioned earlier. Because those kids know that when they come to school, our staff members are prepared to address those challenges. Trauma-informed care, with all the research, isn't always in black and white either. There are certain things that we have to do that are common sense that can help these students as well. And not only, on top of that, our teachers need trauma-informed care. I know some of you all are classroom teachers. Some of you all experience things. Some of you all were former educators. And I can best believe that you all need trauma-informed care, just seeing the stuff that you've seen on a day-to-day basis. My son is showing a T-shirt, and it says, "In this circle, we are trauma-informed. We connect before we correct. We stay curious, not furious. We understand that behavior is communication. We believe in co-regulation, that kids regulate off the adults in their lives. We think can't, not won't. We empathize when someone is flipping their lid. We believe in restoration, not punishment. We believe that relationships buffer stress and build resilience. All of us need one another. Always resilience. It means we see you, we hear you, and we're with you." So this trauma-informed care not only covers our students, it covers our staff members, it covers our teachers, anybody involved in the world of education. So if you want to know, if you want to be a part of this, in your further budget discussions, look at what we can do to implement trauma-informed care in our schools, and we thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Neal, at an earlier meeting, we had the Hampton Roads Trauma Informed Care Network to speak before the board. Thank you. Are there any other speakers that would like to speak before the board?
Got two.
We got two, okay.
Good evening.
Good evening.
My name is Renee Davis Wilkins. I'm a citizen of Truxton community, and we're celebrating just by chance our centennial anniversary here in Portsmouth. We're really excited about that. But I want to not complain, but to commend Dr. Bracy, the school board, the teachers for coming to a school to have a school board meeting.
Absolutely.
I think the schools need to be recognized. The staff were excited. I saw another school, Victory Elementary, ready to present, and this is what we need in Portsmouth.
Right.
We're a small community, but there's so much history here. There's so much potential, and I just commend you for taking on that challenge.
Thank you very much.
Hello, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I want to thank you for the opportunity to be here to speak.
Would you state your name?
My name is Winter, and I'm affiliated with the E-Firm, which is the Expelling Entrepreneurship Retail Museum.
Okay.
And I just basically wanted to shed light that there is another community organization in here tonight that is geared towards the atrocities that are going on in the city. So basically what we're a museum that teaches the historical development of mass incarceration and recidivism. And what we're trying to do is partner with the local city agencies to actually bring attention to the city's, to the museum and get people to come in and actually understand the historical development of mass incarceration and understand how it is important that if we get them at a young age and teach them how their behaviors can lead them to a road of what we call it is civilter mortis, is that once you become incarcerated into the system, you no longer have your rights. Your civil rights are dead to you. So we want to make them aware of these things that can happen to them. So I just wanted to let you guys know that there is another community organization that is in the city that is also fighting towards keeping the kids out of the jails. And we just did a workshop this morning with the Portsmouth Youth Coalition, which is geared towards trying to get back into the schools and seeing how we can cure poverty and some of the other things that are going on. So you guys, thank you. And if anyone wants any information, I have some information that I can give. And you have a good day.
Thank you. And you can leave some of those pamphlets with our clerk, and she'll give them to us. Thank you very much. Do we have any other speakers before we move on to the next item on the agenda? All right. All right. Now, Human Resources, Mr. Ziegler, the monthly Human Resources report that we have, and you have two other items.
Good evening, Chairman Parent, Vice Chairman Patillo. I am proud to present this month's Human Resources report, which you have a written copy in your board report. But I would like to point out a grant that was received by the Department of Human Resources in Portsmouth Public Schools from the Virginia Department of Education that is geared toward helping teachers who are teaching at the preschool level attain, under a provisional license, attain a full 5-year renewable license. And we had one teacher apply for and was awarded this grant and was awarded over $6,000, $6,380.50 to go toward tuition, books, fees, and assessments so that she can earn her full 5-year renewable license. I'm sorry, 10-year renewable license, just changed in January. 10-year renewable license, and she is a teacher at Mount Hermon Preschool. So we're very proud to announce that this month. At this time, I would ask the board to please entertain a motion to approve the transaction report as it is printed in your board docs.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? Hear no discussion. Roll call vote. Now we are voting on 10.3, which is the transaction report. Okay? Madam Clerk?
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Reverend Patillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemake?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Parent?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. And now, Mr. Parent, I would ask the board to entertain a motion to uphold the superintendent's recommendation for dismissal in the matter of case number HR 1819-01.
Move for approval.
Second. Motion's been made and second. Any discussion? Hearing no discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Reverend Patillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemake?
Abstain.
Mrs. Williams?
Abstain due to potential conflict of interest.
Thank you.
Yes. Yes.
Mr. Parent?
Yes.
8
Motion
yes
passes.
votes, 1 abstention. It passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mr. Ziegler. The next item is budget and planning, and this is consideration to appoint members to the MWBE Advisory Committee.
Move for approval.
Second.
Motion's been made and second.
Chairman,
And into discussion, and I don't know whose hand, oh.
Yes, I just want to say to the board members that these two that we're approving come highly recommended by the MWBE committee as well as the MWBE Administrator Gwen Davis. On the MWBE committee, we try to get a diverse group with diverse business owners. So I just want to let the board know again that they are highly recommended.
Now, Lorena, Justin, and Sandra Baines,
Yes.
are they here this evening?
No, they're not here this evening.
Okay. All right. All right. Any other discussion? Hearing no discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Reverend Patillo?
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemake?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Parent?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. The next item on the agenda is consideration of the financial budget report for January. What is the board's pleasure?
Move for
Oh.
approval.
Motion's been made. Second. Mr. Fox, did you have any comments? We've read the report, but do you have any comments you'd like to make?
No, sir, you're fine.
All right. It's been motion's been made and second. And hearing no discussion, Madam Clerk, roll call vote, please.
Ms. Allen?
Yes.
Ms. Atkinson?
Yes.
Mr. Barnes?
Yes.
Mrs. Hines?
Yes.
Mr. Lamb?
Yes.
Reverend Patillo?
Reverend Patillo.
Yes.
Mrs. Shoemake?
Yes.
Mrs. Williams?
Yes.
Mr. Parent?
Yes.
It's unanimous.
Thank you. Mr. Falk, did you have any comments that you'd make? Okay. I didn't mean to bypass you, but I just... Well, now we go down to the superintendent's monthly report. Dr. Rice.
Thank you, Chairman Parent. The first thing I would like to share is that last week I had an opportunity to attend the National Conference on Education that was held in Los Angeles, California with AASA. And Reverend Patillo and I had the opportunity to present at the Superintendent's Consortium where we focused on Jason learning. And Reverend Patillo, I guess you could say, by his role and position with the VSBA as a region chair, Dr. Eleanor Smalley, who's the executive director for Jason, wanted school board involvement in those presentations. So she reached out to Ms. Gina Patterson, and she recommended Reverend Patillo to be part of this presentation. So as you all know, we also presented at the VSBA conference in Williamsburg. So that's how his involvement became. I wanted to share that the presentation went well. Reverend Patillo and myself, along with 4 other school districts, also presented in the pre-conference as well as the main conference. And it was a great experience. Jason is something that's spreading throughout the U.S., and a lot of school districts are now taking note of what they're doing and how their curriculum blends in with science, and particularly STEM. As a result of our participation and the magnificent things that are going on in Portsmouth, and I wish Ms. Nelson was still here, but I will make sure I give her a recap of everything that took place, because she and her staff did an outstanding job of gathering the information so that we would be able to present it and not leave anything out. But twice a year, Jason presents a national meeting for superintendents that are involved in the Jason AASA consortium. So last year, the fall meeting was in Houston, Texas, but they've decided for this fall meeting to be held here in Portsmouth. So we're looking forward to hosting superintendents and school districts across the nation here in Portsmouth. So we're gonna be geared up for that. I shared that with Mrs. Nelson maybe a couple of weeks before we left, that this was a possibility, so it was confirmed. Also, I wanted to share that March 5th, I will be having a roundtable with the PTA officers at Town Bank, the briefing center from 6 to 7:30. I'm looking forward to hearing from them to see what it is that I can do to support what they're trying to do within the schools and reaching out to the community and get other parents involved. Also, over the last couple of weeks have held...
God bless you.
I've also held my advisory meetings with parents, teachers, and students, and they were very fruitful in the discussions. We've talked from the cafeteria food with the students, start times, school uniforms, and school calendar. So we get a lot of information in those meetings. Also had our food services supervisor present to talk with the students about recommendations that they would have for school lunch and school menus. Also want to share that on March 9th, we'll have our annual STEM Expo, and that will be March 9th from 9 to 1 p.m. That's held at Woodrow Wilson High School. And on March 1st, I'm sure many of the board members have received invitations to participate in Read Across America Day. I have 2 schools that I'll be reading at, Douglas Park and John Tyler. I know for John Tyler, I'll be in Mrs. Loper's second grade class, so I'm looking forward to being present that day. And last but not least, a couple of nights ago, I ran into our first student school board rep, Michaela Moore. She wanted me to make sure that I shared with the board members. She said to say hello, and that she had every intention to come back during October when we were talking about bullying. But due to illness and death in her family, she was unable to attend, but she wanted you to know that she hadn't forgot about you. And any initiatives that we have, please let her know, and she'll be more than happy to participate. That concludes my report.
Thank you, Dr. Bracy. This time we have subcommittee reports. The first one would be curriculum and instruction. Ms. Williams, Ms. Hines, I don't know who's...
Thank you, Chairman Parent. Yesterday, the Curriculum and Instruction Subcommittee met. Dr. Bracy, Dr. Wynn, and Ms. Hines tried to get to us, and she got delayed in traffic, so we tried to carry on. The first item on the agenda was the discussion of the survey results for the Craddock Middle School uniform policy. And by an overwhelming amount, next year there probably will not be any uniforms at Craddock Middle School. The 3 questions that were asked were, did they want uniforms? 50% to 60% said no. Also, has uniforms improved the academic performance? We can probably come to that conclusion. Right. No. And has it improved school safety? That was the other question, which was no. So overwhelmingly, the students and the parents from Craddock were the ones that were surveyed. So the committee is recommending to the board that, for the remainder of the year, but then the next beginning of the school year, that they would not have the school uniform policy. Thanks to Mr. Janari Davis for bringing that to our attention again. And then we talked about the strategic plan that needs to be updated. So we're looking at getting our consultant back in that went over that with us. We have to put that on our schedule. We talked about financial literacy and trying to expand what we do. We already offer some economics course, but we want to make it more of an elective course coming up for that. And we talked about the division-wide college and career day. And Mr. Hill has something planned in the works, a big project. We know we do something yearly with different vendors, but he's trying to expand that as well. And, the HB 1419, which was a new law about recess for all elementary kids, so we have added the 8 minutes to the calendar. Is that correct?
Right.
All right, and the governor's proposal for increased counselors. So we're hoping that that's going to be approved. I was telling the committee that I did receive a call from Senator Louise Lucas about that, because she has been appointed a budget conferee, which is excellent for us, and her focus is education. And she said that she was going to fight to get the $36 million for the school counselors' youth risk prevention, because it was put in the House budget, but it was not put in the Senate budget. So she's going to fight for that. And we discussed the RFP that went out for before and after school care. So we agreed that if we get any proposals back that look promising, we would bring to the board for discussion before we decide on what to do with that. And I think, Ms. Hines, you had a question about the impact on the casino. We said we needed to wait to see, because they have to do the referendum even to see if that would go forward.
Well, and the issue that I want to make sure that we as a school board have is when and if this casino comes in, as long as when and if, or when the marijuana clinic comes on board, that our students get first dibs at some of those jobs. So what is economic development expecting as far as job production, and what do we have in line with our curriculum to make sure that our students can be prepared for those jobs? We have hospitality, we have management, we have culinary, we have technology, we have horticulture, we have clinical, LPNs as far as nursing is concerned. But what can we expect from those businesses for production and for employment for our students? Because we can educate our students, but if we are educating them and preparing them for jobs that are not here, then we're adding to the brain drain that is Hampton Road. So I just want to make sure that us and the city are working together to create pieces for our students.
Okay, thanks. And I'm glad you said that, because we did have the discussion yesterday to see if I remember in the past we did have the LPNs, but now we offer the CNAs, and we're looking at how we can get the LPNs back. Also, we're going to do a survey of parents about looking at a later start time for high school students. Instead of 7, all the area schools are going to later times for high school. So we're going to survey that and probably look at if we can possibly do it. It would be more like 2021, because we have to get everybody on board with that. And we're also looking at revamping the Excel campus and the adult education, kind of merging, collaborating to see how we can save money with that. And Project AIM, which is the Portsmouth Health Department sexual risk avoidance education. It's sort of like family life education, but parents still have the opportunity to opt out. And I believe, did I cover everything?
You did a good job. Y'all were busy.
We were very busy
Very busy.
yesterday.
Thank you very much.
Okay. All right, thanks.
Thank you. Ms. Allen represents the board on the CSEP committee, and you have given us copies. Would you like to make any comments concerning your report? We have a copy of it, but you might want to make some comments.
The actual report will be available for public view on board docs. I will be emailing that to Ms. Chambliss. The enrollment information will cover our Tidewater Regional Alternative Education Program, which is TRAPE, our Autism Spectrum Program, the REACH program for full-time students, the REACH program for part-time students, and our REED program. Some notable news I'd like to mention is that CSEP teacher Terrence Battle from S.H. Clark was featured in the Eye on CSEP newsletter for his excellence in building relationships with his students. And then 3 students from Ms. Vasquez's class at IC Norcom received reading medals and certificates for significant gains they've made in reading. So I just wanted to make sure that I shouted those people out. So thank you.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations.
The Finance Committee subcommittee report, you have a copy of it, but just to give you a General Assembly budget update, on the 3rd of February, the Senate and Finance House Appropriation Committee adopted their separate budgets with amendments. On the 8th, the calculation tools were published so that the school divisions could determine the effect of these proposals on state revenue for 2019 and 2020. When comparing the governor's proposed budget to the House of Delegates, Portsmouth Public Schools would see a $541,168 reduction to state revenues in fiscal year 2020. When comparing the governor's proposed budget to the Senate budget, Portsmouth Public Schools would see a $683,101 reduction in state revenue in 2020. These reductions were a result of policy changes by the House and the Senate as follows. The House decreased funding for the compensation supplement and at-risk funding while increasing funding for supplemental lottery. The Senate decreased funding for school counselors and basic aid, at-risk funding, and supplemental lottery. The House and Senate are now engaged in a budget conference to reconcile the differences in their budget plans. The goal is for them to agree to a budget compromise before February 23rd, when the General Assembly finally adjourns. And then the Department of Budget and Finance will continue to monitor the developments in Richmond and provide updates, and we'll provide those updates to the board as soon as we have them. Okay? Do we have any other committee reports that need to come before the board? Hearing none. Do we have discussion, board members' comments? Do any of you have? We got them. Well, we're going to start with Ms. Allen and come on down. We'll just come on down the row. All the hands went up.
Just a reminder that Portsmouth Public Schools offers adult and continuing education courses, and you still have time to register March 5th. Woodrow Wilson High School, they offer sign language, basic keyboarding and basic internet, and basic cake decorating. And for those interested in CPR, March 11th at S.H. Clark. So not only are we making sure we take care of the needs of our children, we're also making sure we're taking care of the needs of the adults.
Thank you. All right, moving on down.
Thank you, Chairman Parent. I'm sorry, DeAndre.
Mr. Barnes?
Well, I want to thank Ms. King for allowing us to come here tonight. We definitely appreciate this opportunity to come out into the community. Mr. Parent mentioned it earlier, and I was going to actually mention it tonight, but I think it's a good idea to actually go into the communities, into the community centers, right, and have these meetings. When I talk to a lot of people, they say they talk about us coming to them and opposed to them coming to us.
Right.
So I think that'll be a good idea to go out into the communities. Maybe we can talk to PRHA and things like that to go into those
Right.
communities. Thank you.
And when we look at our calendar, we're going to be looking at 2 locations. So that's something the board will consider, that we can go into locations, but we have to have Wi-Fi connection, and there are lots of things like that that we have to have. So we certainly will. Coming on down the line, Ms. Atkinson.
This is for Dr. Bracy. Do we track students who have incarcerated parents? Are we able to track that?
I didn't hear.
I would actually like to, I don't know which committee this would go through, if we can start tracking that the next school year, because in order to serve these students, we have to know how many students are affected. And we know that a lot of our students have incarcerated parents. And this is how we can shift them over to a lot of supporting agencies such as eFirm and other community organizations. And this goes along the lines of trauma. So I would like to see us track that if we can.
Yes, please.
Thank you, Chairman Parent. There's been a lot of talk about childhood trauma tonight and over the past few months. And so I just want to make sure that everybody understands when we talk about childhood trauma, what we're talking about, because for adults, some of this seems very mundane, but for children, and especially young children whose brains are still developing. So when we talk about childhood trauma, this is just a childhood trauma, not drama, childhood trauma. We are talking about things like car accidents, bullying and cyberbullying, chaos or dysfunction in the house, a parent that's incarcerated, the death of a loved one, emotional abuse or neglect, physical abuse or neglect, separation from a parent or caregiver, sexual abuse, stress caused by poverty, sudden and or serious medical conditions, violence, whether at home or the school, community violence, and war and terrorism. And so when you go down that checklist and you think about the things that some of our students have seen, some of our students have been a part of, whether by choice or whether by approximate area, that's pretty much all of our students. And so this isn't an inclusive list, this isn't everything, but these are the big ones that we can start with. Childhood trauma is not meant to pinpoint or to be a magic wand, but for people to understand that this affects the brain, which affects learning, which affects what we're here to do at school. So as classroom teachers, as coaches, as community members, as parents of children who have friends, these are the things that we're talking about, and how do we help these students overcome and be more productive rather than staying in that fight, flight, or freeze mentality. So I just wanted to kind of clarify and give you guys examples of what trauma is so that we can all have the same discussion and have the same information. So thank you.
Okay, thank you. Ms. Schumann?
Thank you, Chairman Parent. I just wanted to give kudos to Dr. Bracy as well as the Curriculum and Instruction Committee, only because as she was reading, I just got so excited because I know I spoke with Dr. Bracy about a number of things that I would like to see come to the city of Portsmouth. And I joke with him because I feel like I am a little nettlesome when it comes to requesting or asking for certain things to come to fruition for us in the city. But when I heard about the division-wide college career day and also the financial literacy, those are two things that I did request in the very beginning, and I'm so excited that they're taking a look at that. To have a college/career day is really relevant, because normally we have a college day or you'll have career day, but not together. And I think it's important that we have an opportunity for the children to be able to have a breakout session and have conversations with not just different colleges, but different directions that they would like to go in. We have a lot of athletes, and so one of the ideas that I had is that we have an agent to come and speak to our high schoolers about the potential of becoming an athlete and what that means and how that looks. So I just want to say kudos to all of you guys, and I really appreciate this. It really does feel good when people listen to you and want to see things come into fruition. So thank you again.
Thank you. Williams, you've already made comments. Anything else?
Thank you, Chairman Parent. I did want to just commend our teachers and administrators to continue to do the excellent job that you're doing working in our schools every single day. And also to our parents and our community groups that are here, please, I want to encourage you to continue to call your legislators and your city council persons in reference to funding. They actually spoke on trauma-informed care in Richmond. I had the opportunity to sit on the governor's cabinet for children's safety and school safety, and they spoke on trauma-informed care there. That was one of the reasons why they placed additional funds in the budget for additional counselors, social workers, and also for at-risk programs. But as you heard earlier in the finance report, those things are being reduced and cut from the budget. So please continue to call your legislators and bargain with them, ask them, why are they removing those things from the budget? We're talking about funding a raise in the governor's budget. Is even more difficult to do if they're taking away an additional $600,000 from our budget. Right. So please continue to call, advocate. We don't ask for additional funding out of habit. We do it because that's our need. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Reverend. Go ahead.
No.
I'm going to speak.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's okay. We're going down the line. In the morning at Tidewater Community College, I'm going to be speaking to a group of special ed leaders on leadership. So we're going to have a good time in the morning at Tidewater Community College, and also in March I will be at Parkview and at John Tyler reading on March 1st. So that's going to be a fun time. And the other thing is that I brought up before, and I'm going to bring up every time, is that I am a real strong advocate of Portsmouth beginning an international baccalaureate program. I don't expect it to happen this year, but I think we need to begin planning for an IB program in the next year or so, because other school divisions, that's how they attract students, because they're offering, Norfolk offers it, Chesapeake, Virginia Beach, other school divisions offer it. You can raise the bar and a child will meet that expectations. There's no reason why we cannot offer more advanced placement classes, and we certainly ought to be there with IB programs. So with that, I'll pass it on to Mr. Lamb.
Okay. Thank you, and good evening, everyone. This evening, I wanted to talk with you about a topic that I have brought up before, and an event that I was able to attend on this topic has compelled me to speak this evening. And of course, my colleagues have also spoke about this briefly too. With saying that, Chairman Parent, my comments this evening reflects my thoughts and my opinions on this topic that is near and dear to my heart in many ways. So with saying that, I also want to premise my comments by saying that these comments are not a finger-pointing session, but just facts of an important topic. A topic that I see every day in my own classroom and here in our school division. It is no different. A few months ago, I shared with the board that I had attended a 2-day seminar over trauma-informed care, if you remember, and had reported back to this board many of the data and information that was shared. Some statistics that I took away from that seminar, if my memory serves me correctly, was that schools around the nation that has instituted trauma-informed practices with great success. In some divisions or districts, depending upon what state you're from, has seen a 73% decrease in suspensions, a 75% decrease in violence in schools, and a 65% increase in teacher satisfaction. On Saturday, February 9th, at the Commodore Theater, and thank you again to the Commodore Theater for showing the movie Resilience for those that was in attendance. This movie clearly proved with its data and statistics that trauma has a negative role in students' learning. In fact, it clearly showed that students with as few as 4 out of 10 ACEs, or when we say ACEs, adverse childhood experiences, are more than 32% more likely that will exhibit behavioral problems at school. Incidentally, when trauma is left untreated, then a person is more than likely to mature into adulthood with issues such as depression, heart disease, and other issues when left untreated. In fact, since 1997, over 34% of the population has experienced 3 or more ACEs. That is a significant increase. We have spent over $3 trillion in health care and only 5% in preventive measures. In short, 41% of children in Virginia have at least one adverse childhood experience. 41%. And we wonder why we have a teacher shortage in education today. We wonder why we are seeing teachers across this nation petitioning their elected assemblies as they see fit. Let's consider locally, because you see, when trauma can also be seen in communities through crime rates. According to a crime report that was released by our own police department, we're seeing a year-over-year crime increase. This, unfortunately, not only affects the families involved, but our communities as a whole, and we see the residue brought into our schools. I see it every day in my own classroom. How do you look at a child and listen, but you're so very limited in what you can say or do anymore? That is the life of a teacher. We, teachers, we experience secondary trauma by working with students who is living with firsthand trauma. And to be honest with you, Chairman Parent, I come home mentally exhausted many days because of listening and what's going on. And when it is said by the AAP, which is the American Association of Pediatricians, that trauma is becoming the biggest public health crisis in the nation, I believe it. Trauma-informed is no magic pill, but I do believe it has its merits. And Chairman Parent, I was glad to see the presentation this evening about trauma-informed. As also discussed, the idea of having curriculum and instruction to look at it, I think is a step in the right direction. And it was also stated that they will, and I would also propose that that's only the beginning part, because as it was shared with us, this is all encompassing. You've got to have different groups, different organizations, the whole community to buy into it. So I would also propose that we as a board start to learn more about this, and that we give our policy committee to look at this as well, so that our policies become trauma-informed as well. A quote that I saw on that Saturday morning watching the movie Resilience was the following, and it has stayed with me. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make them drink. Well, you can make them thirsty. Chairman Parent, as a board, let's get thirsty for our staff, our students, and our communities. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All right, hearing no other comments from the board, the last item on the agenda is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn? So moved. So moved. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for coming out this evening.